instalment of Geography. Today we study tectonics and the Earth. Now to my correspondent Rodri to explain internal structure.
The Earth's internal structure. First of all, we have the crust. This is a thin layer around 30 to 5 kilometers thick, which is on the surface of the Earth. We live on the crust, and it's made up of oceanic and continental plates. After the crust, the upper mantle. This is a semi-liquid, semi-solid section of the upper mantle of the Earth. It's made up of various different types of rocks and oxides. After this, we have the inner mantle, or the lower mantle. This is a completely liquid and much more viscous section of the Earth's centre. After the mantle, we find the core. The outer core is a liquid metal solution, whilst on the other hand, the inner core is solid metal. Between the different sections on the surface, we can work out where the crust ends and the upper mantle begins via a moho. This is a small line, some 8 kilometers thick, which suggests a transition between the two different types of rocks. As well as this, we have the lithosphere. This is made up of the solid part of the upper mantle and the crust. We also have the asthenosphere, which is the liquid part of the upper mantle's lower section, transitioning into the lower mantle. That is all.
Wasn't that interesting? Now, on to Connor for continental and oceanic plates.
Are more dense than continental plates, and the oceanic plates are 2.9 grams per cubic centimetre, whereas continental plates are 2.7 grams per cubic centimetre. Continental plates are up to 35 kilometres thick, however oceanic plates are up to 10 kilometres thick. The oldest oceanic plate is located in the Mediterranean Sea, and that's 250 million years old. Many continental plates are covered by sea, with underwater joins to oceanic plates.
And now to my charming friend Dylan for convection currents.
So, convection currents. Convection currents are the result of radioactive decay in the Earth's core. It's the decay of elements such as silicon and oxygen, which are very, very light. This decay causes an immense amount of heat, which heats up the lower asthenosphere. The asthenosphere contents then rises as it's less dense because it's being heated and expanded. As it reaches the top of the asthenosphere near the moho, it then cools, becoming more dense and sinking. This sinking causes a rotational movement, and this leads to a wheel-like effect on the tectonic plates, causing tectonic movement, and this is known as convection currents. And we can see this through evidence such as the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, where magma spits out, causing volcanoes due to their high pressure and energy. So, back to Rodri in the studio. Not Rodri.
Delectable. And now we go to Liam. Very simple and slow history of our Earth.
Theory. In 1596, Abraham Ortelius founds continental drift theory, based on maps of the New World found through recent explorations, which seem to show the world's continents fitting together like pieces of a jigsaw. In 1683, Nicholas Steno and his law of superposition states that each layer of the Earth's surface predates the rock layer below it. In 1785, James Hutton uses Steno's law of superposition. He finds evidence of granite penetrating metamorphic cysts, indicating granite had once been molten and thus formed from the cooling of molten rock, making it younger than the rock surrounding it. In 1880, Alfred Wegener introduced the continental drift theory to the scientific community, but his views were dismissed due to the lack of evidence. In 1906, Harry Hess works on the relationship of the sea floor and the continental drift theory. In 1912, Alfred Wegener again discovers various plant samples and fossils found in Africa and Europe, which correlate with those found in America, a whole ocean apart, indicating at one point that the continents must have been linked. In 1929, Arthur Holmes' theory of the mantle being subjected to thermal convention, of magma rising as it heats and falling as it cools, is founded but is largely ignored. In 1962, Hess finds evidence of his seafloor spreading theory, which are submerged mountains known as gyres, noted for their flat tops. And in 1968, Dan Mackenzie theorises that the lithosphere is divided into plates that move over the Earth's surface relative to each other.
And finally, once again, Liam, for evidence of plate tectonic theory.
Supporting plate tectonic theory, these can be from paleomagnetism and the distribution of fossils and glacial deposits, as well as earthquake evidence. So let's start with seafloor spreading or paleomagnetism. So some guys discovered a ridge of mountains running through the Atlantic Ocean called the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. So, you know, why? What does this mean? So it actually means that they also found running parallel to the ridge were some magnetic stripes, which corresponded to the Earth's polarity at that time. And due to the release of iron particles through the eruption at this ridge from lava, etc., etc., the iron particles align with these stripes according to the Earth's polarity at that time. So kind of similar to iron filings around the magnet, that type of thing. And so this created bands of normal and reverse polarity. So normal north, reverse south, depending on Earth's polarity at that time. And this suggests that new rocks, and actually these bands were being mirrored. So you got north south at each side of these magnetic stripes, suggesting that new rocks are being added on each side, supporting the idea that the seafloor is spreading apart and these rocks are being formed. So next we've got the distribution of fossils and glacial deposits. So fossils to an extent support the theory, as fossils such as the Mesosaurus have been found on numerous continents, suggesting that actually at some point these continents were once all together and separated due to continental drift. But however, you could argue that actually distribution of these fossils could be due to similar conditions, etc., on these continents and these locations, and they evolved in these areas. So therefore, that's the reason why they're on different continents. And then next we've got glacial deposits. So these deposits, called tillites, also being found on numerous continents. Again, showing that these continents may one day have been all together. And finally, we've got earthquake evidence. So during the Cold War in the 1950s, seismic waves were used by America and Russia. You know, see what they're doing, see what each other are doing. And so they used these waves and saw that actually earthquakes happen all the time. And this linked to the idea that actually the plates, you know, maybe plates are moving all the time, colliding, and found that actually earthquakes happen at certain margins, showing that plates are moving, and linked to the idea that actually continents once all together, and therefore supporting the idea of plate tectonic theory.
With the exciting world of geography. Thank you. Now leave.
Alright, we'll try it. Let's try it.